Before I get started with this video, some of you who did not know, yes, I did end up in Urban Dictionary back in September of 2019 when my phrase that I came up with, palm colored, ended up there. And as you can see, they gave me credit. It says palm colored, a white person. This term was coined by Torian Rain, posted September 25th, 2019. But I'm coming on here today. Just it's like an impromptu video, and it's basically to piggyback off of a tweet that I posted. It was a thread style tweet that was about 5 tweets long. And it's something that's been rubbing me the wrong way, in particular with PC, for quite some time, that I've never addressed. And I don't think many people have addressed it. I'm not saying no one has, but I think I've only seen 1 or 2 people talk about this. So if it's only been 2 people, allow me to be the third. And that's about the fake outrage that PC has when it comes to black people, black death in particular, in the narratives that they'll use to spin it in order to make themselves feel good, and how they constantly deflect when we bring what they bring to us to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the tweet that I posted so you can get an idea of where I'm headed with this. Dear Palm Colored, you want to know why when someone in your community gets taken out by the police, no one talks about it? It's because deep down you don't care. You have cornered the multimedia outlet at large and choose to highlight black death for your own propaganda narrative. There's so much you could highlight in your own communities as far as degeneracy goes, such as these mass shootings, but you barely want to highlight that because it puts you in the hot seat. But because it causes outrage at large, you have no choice but to talk about it. You somehow manage to always bring up Chicago all the time, but leave out the meth lab explosions in rural America and opioid overdoses that plague your community because you're too honed in on what black people got going on to even give a shred of a damn about what goes on in your backyard. Admit it, you don't care about you, and that's the black ass bottom line. And I dare anybody to really say anything different about it. I mean, think about what's like every time someone black dies in the community at the hands of these terroristic cops and their trigger happy selves, they will go from that and immediately go to Chicago, black on black crime, and 13% of the population, and that's always a talking point for them. But then want to turn right back around when something happens with them and say, what about white lives and all lives matter, and we're taking back the country and we won't be replaced, and the stuff like that. That is all a farce and fake and phony outrage, because truth be told, they only do that as a response because they're not being talked about. And let's talk about that white lives matter for a second. Now, I just recently did a Triple P about it, and that was in a jokingly way because their numbers was low for that rally. But when they talk about white lives matter, they're not talking about the white lives that are lost from, say, police brutality, should they face it, or these opioids that are going on ravishing their communities, or anything that will dwindle their numbers. No, white lives matter is about them being seen and them getting attention and them wanting to go back and relive the glory days of years past, years gone, because they're not coming back. And that's what they want to relive, and they're upset because they are getting shelved, so to speak. Even though the system of Dub S will still be here, most likely even after they're quote unquote gone, because at the end of the day, it's still a system. It's not a person. A lot of people think Dub S is a person, and it is not. It is a system that they created, but many people can benefit off of it, and not just them. That foundation will always be here for a very long time, even probably after we are long gone. I think it's decaying, but it's still in place, and it's still intact as I speak to this day. But I just think that it's just very interesting to me that they do all of this stuff and then have the nerve to turn right back around and try to, in turn, make it all about them. And if they can't make it about them, then they will turn around and then they will find a way to dehumanize another group of people, i.e. us, to make themselves feel better. Even when the incident at hand has nothing to do with what they're talking about. Like nothing to do with what they're talking, with the situation at hand. And last I checked, palm colored is the majority still in this nation. So if y'all cared about white lives so much as you claim you do, then why don't we hear more about what goes on in these palm colored communities? And it doesn't have to be police brutality. It could be a plethora of things. I've talked about several on my channel, whether it's drug overdoses, homelessness, these teachers sleeping with these underage students, these mass shootings. Realize the mass shootings is probably the only stories that come out of their communities that's a tragedy that will ever get airtime, and that's only because it's something that is an attention grabber. But let it be anything else, they will do their best to shield it so you don't hear about it, to the point where the only thing you'll ever hear that comes out of their community is a mass shooting, as if that's the only issue that they have. Trust and believe, while it is a horrible issue to have, it's not the only one. It's many, many more. And they have to project that black people are these degenerates so much onto the world to make themselves look good. But when you look back through their history, which many of them try to cover up, no matter how hard they try, it's way more to them that meets the eye. Way more to those who need a history lesson. They even be asking, how come there's not a White History Month? Or every time there's a Black History Month, and only Black History Month. Well, why isn't there White History Month? They have Black History Month and not even realizing that there's more months out there that are more than just Black History Month. But they're mad because they don't have a month. Oh, why is it Black entertainment television? Why can't there be white entertainment television? What is ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox? It's like I said, it's like they're trying to compete while at the same time still be on top. Like, how can you be a quote unquote oppressed class and still be the quote unquote dominant and superior class? Like that doesn't work like that. But see, they want to corner every market. Every facet of life they must have and consume. They're like Galactus from Marvel. They have to have everything centered around them. But when it's time to put the mirror up in their face and make them face themselves for their wrongdoings amongst each other, not from other groups, but from each other, as such as white on white crime, which actually is a thing. It actually really is a thing. It's called proximity crime. But see, the thing is, they have to literally keep that focused on black people because it's trendy. And that's the thing. They can't trend in those kind of places, but then get upset when it doesn't get talked about. But they're the majority class, as allegedly, in America. But get upset because no one is talking about it. Well, you're somebodies. Why aren't you talking about it? Like I said, you own all the mainstream media outlets and you have the floor. Like, you could literally talk about it if you wanted to, but the point of the matter is they don't want to because they feel that that kind of narrative is only reserved for black people. Like, they cannot allow themselves to be seen in a bad light, even though that's kind of hard to do, considering. But they can't afford to have it be fleshed out like it is with black people. Like, they can't say, oh, it was a shooting here where so and so many people were dead, like they do with black people in Chicago every other weekend. And don't get me started on when it's a holiday weekend. The holidays are going to roll back around. Watch Memorial Day weekend. They probably had some from Easter, but I didn't check. But Memorial Day weekend, that's the one that really kicks it off because it's like the kickoff of summer, like the unofficial summer. Watch, they're going to say, this many people got shot in Chicago. We have no suspects, but we have all these people who got shot. We have this many killed, but no witnesses and no suspects. It's coming, y'all. And then they're going to run out and they're going to do all kinds of stories and hit pieces about that while ignoring what happened over in Hickville. The thing of the matter is, they don't care about them. For the majority, they don't care about them. But then have the nerve to say we don't care about our own. That is hypocrisy at its finest. But, that's just, that's their nature. I want to know from anybody who's watching this video, have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed that PC loves to project the negativity of black people on the black people, but when black people or any other group tells them about themselves, they get upset and they don't even talk about their own degeneracy, walking around here as if they are the reflection of perfection, which could not be any further from the truth if they tried. Man, it's a weird paradigm. It's a interesting discussion. This is a discussion that should have been had a while ago, to be quite honest. In my honest opinion, I feel that's what I feel. But even though I'm making this video, they're still going to do their same talking points. They're still going to bring up Chicago because they love to bring up Chicago. And if they can't bring up Chicago, they're going to bring up Baltimore or any other major black majority residential city. And that's all they're going to talk. And they're going to get enjoyment out of that and then still be upset that no one's talking about them when they had so much time to talk about each other. And usually if they do talk about each other, it usually doesn't go any further than politics. That's easy, though. That's very easy for them. And it's very safe for them to just talk about the mudslinging that happens in politics. Like, that's simple. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, when's the last time you've seen them do a story about something that's gone down in one of these rural towns outside of what's going on with WUVID? Or when's the last time you've seen them talk about anything that involved PC that did not have anything to do with a mass shooting? The way that they like to talk about us. When's the last time they did a story about a white person being shot and killed by the police and there was outrage by the palm color community? I can remember a few years ago, I did a video about a white teen who was murdered unjustly by some PC cops somewhere in a southern state. I forgot what state it was, but I remember it vividly. And I was one of the few people, this black man you hear talking right now, that actually gave a damn to talk about that story and say how wrong it was of them to kill that boy, because he was not resisting. Like, he in that moment he got treated like a black person. And what did Palm Colored do? Not only did they barely talk about that story, but when they did talk about it, they talked about it as if he was a black victim. Oh, he shouldn't have been resisting. Oh, he should have did this. Oh, he should have did that. So what does that tell you? And some of you who are probably listening to me talk about this right now, probably like your memories being jogged about that story. I forgot what state it happened in. I want to say it was South Carolina, but I could be wrong. But I do know that the state that it happened in was in the South. I do remember that. But yeah, they are full of it. That's why I can't take their talking points seriously when it comes to talking about us. Because I'm like, y'all have all this time to talk about us every single day of the week while y'all got a lot of bones in your closet that if you just open up the door, it will look like the goddamn elephant graveyard off of the Lion King. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video on this note. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you have not done so already, make sure that you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video or go live.